Hello guys, welcome to another video about Mixed Reality Toolkit, and in this opportunity how to create your portal with another universe. So the idea of this video is for you to learn how to create a portal and manage all the necessary properties and shaders, etc. in order to create a universe that only appears through the portal that we will create. In this video we will cover how to create a 3D ambient that we will see through our portal, and in the following weeks we will be creating, instead of a 3D model, we will create our 360 video. Basically we will get inside a 360 video like we were on that reality. So and also once we accomplish that, we will see how to place our portal into our world with Azure Special Anchors. So let's begin. Great guys, so now that we have everything configured to work with anchors, I'm going to create our portal. So I have a brand new scene in our project. This is the same one that we were working on the last session. I will be uploading everything on GitHub for you to download it. You can check on the link of this video to download it. The next thing, once I go to File, New Scene, I'm going to create Mixed Reality Toolkit and add to Scene and Configure. I'm going to add the Mixed Reality XR SDK option, because this is only the profile I will use to test the portal. This is not what we are going to use it to port it to Android. But if you select this portal, you will see this kind of warning, or the yellow ones. Unless it is a red one, you don't have to worry, just clear them in there and that's it. So now let's create our portal. For that, I'm going to 3D object cube and I'm going to start working around with our design skills. So I'm going to the top, I'm going to do this a little bit thinner. Great, so I have my first pillar over there. Now I will duplicate this. If you right click on this, you can select the duplicate, or you can select it and press Ctrl D and it will just duplicate. Great, so I will move it to the right, and then I have to create the top. Again, I will press Ctrl D, and in this opportunity I'm going to find out which one, because I usually forgot which one is the one that I need to do. Okay, that one. The Z, I'm going to put the Z on 90. And now I'm going to, sorry, I deleted it. Perfect. I'm going to select the cube and I'm going to move it around until it's on top of our pillars. So I will make them a little bit smaller on the x-axis. Okay, that's looks like a door, guys. I will put it like that. Okay, so we have our portal. This is what will appear to us, and we want everything to be inside that portal. Remember, we are talking about another world, right? That world is not part of ours. The only thing that we will see is the portal and what we can see through the portal. But once we get inside the portal, we will see all the magic happens. And how are we going to do that? So the magic happens when you add a plane object. So that's the one. I'm going to right click on my hierarchy, 3D object, and I'm going to create a plane. So this plane, you cannot see it, it's on top right now. You can see it here, the position is, I will put it down, it's moved. So now I can see the plane. The first thing that I will do is I will move this to face me. So right now you can see that it's transparent. That is because the plane is facing the other way. So right now the plane is facing our portal, but we need the plane to face us. So I will put the negative. That's it. The next thing is I will try to modify the size of our plane. So by selecting it, I will put this a little bit like this, and I will move it up. And the next thing is, okay, that's our plane, and it's right inside our door. So let's put it that way, and let's try to modify so it can fit inside our door. okay? That's it. So we have our plane inside our door. But we need to have it transparent because we actually want to see what's in the other side of our door. And the magic happens when we start playing around with what we call shaders. So I will create a shader and I will do it inside my material box because I just wanted everything to be organized. So I will create a new folder. I will name it shaders. Inside that folder, I'm going to create a shader. So I'm going to right click, create, then I'm going to select the option shader, and the one that we are going to create right now, it's called unlit shader. I'm going to name this portal door shader. Perfect. So now let's open it up. Remember, I'm working right now in Visual Studio. You can work in our Visual Studio Code, whatever you like the most, but I like much more the intelligence of Visual Studio when it comes to all these types of codes. Great, so when we have, let me drag it in here. When we have our shader, this is what it looks like. So we have properties. Here we have subshaders that are created by a pass and some tags. And what are we going to use from this? So we are not going to use the properties, so we can delete this. We are not going to use the tags. We are not going to use anything of this. So I just wanted you guys to see what it looks like when it's brand created by Unity, but we are going to create our own shader. So inside of our sub shader, we are going to turn off what we call the seed write. So the seed write is it doesn't let our game object be duplicated through our Z axis. So if, let's say, we get into our portal, if we don't turn this off, we will see eternally the frame of our portal. So I'm going to put it right on off. The other thing we will do is we will put our color mask to 0. So that will help us with the, did you see that right now our portal has like a white, let me show you guys, like a white color. So we want that color to go away. We want to make it transparent. So that's what we do with color mask off. And then we will have call off. Colors will help us with renderization. So everything that is from the other side of the portal, we don't want it to be rendered unless we set it to be rendered. Okay. So we are going to create our stencil. Great. So in order for our portal, our plane, so I will talk about the plane that is inside our portal. Okay. So in order for our plane to display all the new world that is behind our portal, we need to give each one of the pixels of that plane a number that is going to be replaced by the new world image or new world objects that we have from the other side. So that number can be from 0 to 255. I will choose number 1. So I will say each one of the pixels of our plane is going to have a reference number of 1. And then what I want to do is I want to replace that pixel with the information that I'm going to say to the stencil. So then I'm going to create a pass, but actually the pass is not going to have absolutely anything. It's just because shaders need to have this type of hierarchy. Great, so now I will move back to my Unity. Let's open up. Great, so I have my portal door in here. And how do I assign that shader to my plane? So each one of the shader needs to be assigned to a material, and the material can be assigned to the plane. So I'm going to create in here, in our material folder, I'm going to create a new material, and I'm going to call it portal door S material, because I want to know that that's a material that belongs to a shader. Okay, and as you can see, this is a white one. I will drag and drop this to our plane. Now I will go to my plane, and you can see that the material that is assigned to him is the portal door as material. I could just drag and drop it in here. I just like to use the hierarchy panel. And now, in order to make that transparency that we need in our plane, I will select the material. And under shader, by default, the shader that is selected is the standard shader. I will click in here, and I will go to unlit. Remember that we created an unlit shader. So I will here select the portal door shader, and that's it. So we have a transparent plane that you know that is inside our portal, but nobody knows that. Awesome. So this is the only thing that we have in here. Remember, we have a plane mesh that is from a plane. We have the mesh render that is the portal door as materials, and we have the mesh collider. I'm going to rename these ones because, okay, this is going to be and I'm going to create an empty object. I'm going to name it door, and I'm going to put everything inside of it. Perfect. So I have my plane, I have my door, and I have all the configuration for mixed reality. Now I will create something in the other side of my portal. So I will right click in here, and I'm create. This is only to show you guys. So we have everything prepared in order to bring our video from Star Wars. That's going to happen in another section of the video. So I'm going to select 3D object, and I'm going to select the option cube. So I'm going to the top, I'm going far away, and this is pretty far away from our portal, but not that much. I will put it more far away, and I will put it a little bit smaller. This is only the size of the things that you are managing, and the portal, the size of the portal depends on the size that you want it. We will create something, and then you can test it and see if the size is what you want. If it is not, you can just change the size of every element that you have on your scene. Okay, so now I have this cube over here, and I have my portal. If I move around, you can see that we can see that the cube is more far away than our portal. So I want that cube to be in the other world. So basically, when I make this movement that I just did, I don't want the door to show me what's behind, because I'm supposing that this is a wall and that something is happening in another universe over there. So since our cube has the material, the default material, we will first create a new material for our cube. So I will put it like cube material. I want you guys to understand something here. So you can create whatever you want in the other part of the portal, and if you have worked before in creating something in Unity, you know that maybe the different objects have different materials. So that's why I'm putting a cube material. So the idea is that we say, okay, this cube has its own materials. I'm going to put it in red. I'm going to assign it to our cube the other way that we mentioned. So our cube now is red, and I want this one is also has standard as shader as part of the default settings of Unity. So I want to edit that shader, but I cannot do it in here because it's not where we can see it. We need to port it to our project. And how do we do this? So Unity puts available those kind of shaders, and where can you find it? So if you go to your browser and you search for Unity archive, you will see this one. So let's go inside that link. Now that we are inside our link, you need to search for the Unity version that you have installed. In my case, I have Unity 2019. I just updated it. So I have version 2019 for 21F1. So this is the one I have. And in here, you can see that if you're working on Mac, you can pick these ones, but I'm working on Windows. So in here, I can select the built-in shaders option. So once I select that, I will download that. And that's going to be the following archive. Let me open up. Right, so this is the information that I have. So I have in here something that is called default resources, and you can see in here that you can find the shaders that comes with your version of Unity. So I'm going to search for the standard. Remember, that's the one that we have with our cube. So this is the standard. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select my project, and I'm going to drag and drop this file under shaders. Let me go to shaders. Once I do that, a copy of that file is going to be as part of our project now. Great, so this is what we have. First of all, I will rename it. Okay, so I will put the name standard portal, because this is something I will reuse in all the different game objects, all the different materials of my game object that are from the other side of my portal. So let me open it up. This is how it looks like. You have all information that if you want to understand what this is doing, you can do it, but this video is not going to cover this. This video is going to tell you what you need to edit in order for our plane start telling you what to show and what not to show. And how will this work? So basically, we are going to also give number 1 to everything, as a reference to everything that is from the other side of the portal, and we want to compare it with our plane. So if they are the same, then I want the plane to display what is from the other side. If not, we don't want to see it. So for that, I'm going to create an enumerator, and we have the possibility to use what we call the stencil comparison function. This is a function that let us compare if the pixels are equal or are not. As you can see, only renders pixels whose reference values are equal to the value in the buffer, or whose are not equal. So these are the ones that we are going to be using. But we need to use this reference, the one that is straight from the compare function. Why? Because each one of these properties has a value that we can assign. For example, disabled is number 0, never is number 1, less is number 2, equal is number 3, and not equal is number 6. So these numbers are the ones that we are going to use in our comparison in our shader. So let's go back to our shader, and I will create an enumerator. And inside that enumerator, I'm going to indicate which one are the properties that I want to use. So I want to select the equal property, and we know that that was number 3, and we want to select the not equal that we knew it was number 6. And what happens with this comparison? So we want to compare it. We will name it stencil test in order to use it. Okay, That would name it stencil test. And this one has to have an integer, so that will be the result that we need to compare. And we want to have those that are equal to number 1. This can be changed. We will see how we will change it later in order to manage what is going to be displayed and what is not. But right now we want the portal or the plane to show what is exactly with number 1. So we want to see through our plane what is behind our door. The next thing that I'm going to do in here is I'm going to copy this one, but we will change some information on this. So we're going to copy the stencil ref, and we're going to do it inside our subshader. So I'm not going to edit anything else on the properties. I'm going to my first subshader, and under LOD 300 I'm going to paste our stencil. But we want to use reference number 1, but the one thing that we need to do is to compare. And to compare to what? So the comparison needs to be with our stencil test. So that result is going to give us the value for us to understand what's going to be compared with our reference 1 and what's not. So I'm going to copy this one because we not only have one subshader on this standard, but we have 2. So in the second one, I'm also going to copy it, and that's it. Now, the other thing we need to do, in order for the behavior of the standard not be like the one that is usually, we need to comment these 2 lines. Great. Let's save it, and now let's go to our project. We knew that each one of the shaders need to have a material associated in order to be executed. So we didn't create a material for this one. We want to apply this shader to the materials of the game object that are from the other side of our plane. So the material that we have that we want this to be applied to is the one that is from our cube right now. So we can have lots of different materials of the game objects, and we need to apply to our shader to those materials. So I will go in here and I will select, oh, I didn't change the name. Let's open this out. So I have this one. This one is the one that we were editing, but in here we have the standard name, so we cannot search for it. So I will put it on the portal, and I will put it the name portal shader. Okay, now I will go back here, and if you see here, now the option portal appears. It used not to be there. Now I set it through go, and we have our portal there. Okay. So I assign it. It doesn't look different, guys. You can see the cube over the plane, but if I click with my hand and I move, check that out. Now I'm not seeing my cube. I'm just seeing it through my door. So that cube is in another world, and the only way to see it is getting into our portal. Now, if I play this up, let's see how we can see this. You can see I don't see absolutely anything, because something that happens with mixed reality and everything is that the objects are loaded in the same place as the camera. So right now our camera is exactly in the middle of our portal, so we need to move everything a little bit more far away from our camera. So if you see, I'm putting I just put to see our scene from the top, and I don't see the cube either. But if I select it, now I see that it is in there, but I cannot see it because, you know, guys, that's in another world. So I'm going to select not only the door but also the cube, and I'm going to move them a little bit more far away from our camera. Great. So let's see if we can see now something. Great. So as I told you guys, those warnings don't take in consideration, and we can see that. Remember, we can work with a hand with mixed reality toolkit. If you press the spacebar, you can see a hand, but also if you right click on the scenes, you can also move around. And what I will do, I will get a little bit there. So with my arrow keys, I can move from in and out, and as you can see, guys, this is already working. That's another universe, and if I move it, let's say I move close to from the other side, I won't see that. I won't see my cube. And if I turn around, I won't see it either, because that's in another universe. But what is happening right now that we need to fix is this. When I move to my portal, I can see the cube in there, but once I get into my portal and I go from the other side of the plane, everything disappears. Okay, so basically my plane in here is acting like a mirror, or like a glass that is actually drawing what is from the other side. But we don't want this. We want to get inside of another world. So how do we solve this? For this, we need to create a script. In that script, we need to set, okay, once our camera, because we are moving with our camera, remember guys, once our camera hits our plane and moves away from the plane from the other side, we want all the other universe to appear. Okay, so right now everything in the other world is like transparent, because we only want it to be displayed in our plane. But once we have that action of colliding the camera with the plane, we want everything from the other side to appear, and we want everything from the side of our real world only to be displayed through our plane from the other side. And in order to do that, we need to create a script. So I will go into my asset, I will right click in here, I will create a script folder. Under script, I will create a new C# script, and I will name it portal door. Perfect. Let's open it up. There we have. And there is something that there is an event that helps us with the collision, which is the on trigger stay or on trigger enter. So that event tells us when something is colliding with the object that this script is assigned to. So I will first assign the script to the plane. Now that it's empty, I will go and assign this one to our plane. So if you guys see in here, our plane has the portal door assigned to it. And now I know that our plane is one of the elements that is going to collide with another one. So the action is going to happen once we collide with the portal. Okay, let's close this up, guys. Let's go back to there we have. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys how the collide works. So I'm going to use the on trigger stay. So the collider that is coming in here is the other element that is colliding with our plane. Okay, so in here I'm going to just show you guys when this is going to be hitting, and we are going to start showing you guys. So once we hit with the plane, remember we are moving our camera right now. We are not moving. We could move if we were playing around with a game. We could move a game object instead of the camera, but in here we are moving the camera. So if we play this object, this will load a debug message when we hit our camera with our plane. If we test it as it is, you will see that this won't work. Okay, let me go show you guys. So I'm supposed to hit our plane and our debug is supposed to pump up in here, and it's not pump up in there. What is happening? So in order for two objects to collide, they need to have a rigid body and a collider both attached to them. So we know our plane, in the case of the plane it is a collider, but in the case of our camera we need to have a rigid body and a collider. So by default the Mixed Reality Toolkit profile does not assign a collider or a rigid body to the configuration. So we are going to add a rigid body to our camera, and we need to disable the gravity, because if we have it enabled the camera will fall until the infinite. So let's disable that, and we will add a collider. The collider that we will add is a capsule collider, and we will select the is trigger option under capsule collider. So we want the camera to accept the trigger options. Okay, so now let's not say that. If we test this, and as you can see, let's scroll this up so you guys can see, I'm going to get closer to my plane, and once I hit my plane, the on trigger state enter, and it's increasing because I'm still inside the trigger options. But when I go out, taking into consideration, it stopped. So let's do it again. It's 407. Now I'm inside and it's increasing, which means that the event is happening the entire time. But when I'm away, it stops. Okay? Great. So that's the first step we need to do. We know now that we are entering our on trigger state. Now what we need to do to check if we are working correctly with the elements that we have. So first we need to know if the collider that is hitting our plane is the camera. So if our other, remember that is the camera that we are using, right? Game object, that name is equal to main camera, that's the name that our camera has by default in Unity. I'm going to show you guys that it hit. Okay, so we know that our camera is the one that hit our plane. So let's do it again. Great, so it hit it. Now that our camera hit it, what do we need to do? So we have two elements. One is the camera and the other one is the plane. And the only difference between each one of them is going to be in the Z axis. So the one that the camera is moving in the Z axis. So we know that we put our plane a little bit more far away from our camera. So if once we cross that plane, our Z axis, the value of our Z axis of our camera is going to increase. It's going to be much more bigger than the Z plane. But if we are standing from the other side, it's going to be less. Okay. So we know that the element that this script is assigned to is the portal. So we want to get the position of our portal, and we got it from transform position. That's it. So now if the position of our plane is lower than the other, which is our camera, transform position Z, something is going to happen, else something is going to happen. So if the position of Z at the beginning, we know that is bigger. Okay, so if the position is bigger, we will say debug. So we know that the position of the plane is smaller than the one from the camera. So I'm inside the portal. Now, if the position of our plane is bigger than our camera outside. Then I'm outside the portal, okay? Let's test this out. If not, it's the other way around, guys. I always confuse them, so that's why I use debug to know where I'm standing. Great, so nothing hit it. Inside the portal, outside, inside, outside. So the first time, did you see, guys, that the first time did not load the events, but then it did. Okay, so what I want to do is, once I'm inside the portal, I don't want the cube to disappear. Instead, I want the cube and the other materials inside the portal to appear. So for that, I'm going to grab the material of our cube, and I'm going to create a public material, cube material. If you guys want to create for more than one material, you know that you can in here create an array of materials. So by putting this, you will be adding an array of materials. Right now we only care about the cube. Great, so now I'm expecting the cube material. So I'm going to save this, and let's go to our project in here, and I'm going to grab my cube and my plane, and you can see in my plane now it's expecting a cube material. So you know that the material that we want to put in there is the red one. This is the one that is assigned to our cube, so that's the one that goes in there. So now I'm grabbing and I'm using that material from behind, and now it's time to understand what was our shader helping us with. So we know now that under our shader we have our value of the stencil test in here. So what I'm going to do, once I'm inside the other world, I'm going to select the cube material that set init stencil test. Let's check if I have the name correctly, stencil test. I'm going to force it to appear. So I'm going to force the comparison. And I'm going to name the compare function. Now, this compare function is not, I don't see in here, it's not detected by IntelliSense, and that's because I need to call the using the Unity engine rendering. So we are actually rendering the other material. So now that I have already, I'm going to select the compare function, and I'm going to say if it is equal. Okay, so this will make our cube not to disappear from the other side. And if I'm outside the door, I will put it as not equal. Okay, so let me go to our project. So now that we are going to cross the portal, the cube is not going to disappear. And let's test this out. So I'm in there, and it disappears, but it appeared again. So we have a small problem in there. For you guys to see what is happening, let me grab this. So I will do the following. I will create another cube. This cube has the same material assigned on. I will create a branch new cube so you can see it, and I will put it back So I have my red in there. Okay, this one. And I will change the size of this. I will make it like a wall. So this is there, and there we have. So we have our portal in there. Let's create another material. I will name it wall material. I will put a different color. I like pink, so I will put it in pink. And I will assign that to our cube. Great. So we have the red. Remember that let's check the grid. It's pretty close to the one that we have. So I will put our wall, more far away. So we have a nice distance between all of them. And remember guys that this is another material. So to this material I will also put the shader that we have. And that's it, how we see it. Oh, the plane is a little bit there. And that's how we see it through our door. If we move around, you can see that it's like a wall inside our portal. But something happened in here, that I added another material, and in our script, let's go back to our script, we only had one material. So for that I'm going to create an array in here, and I'm going to say I'm going to name it materials. So I changed that name, and let's comment this. I will go back to my Unity project, and now if I select the plane, instead of having only the one material, I will request to ask me for two materials. So now I have two options of materials. One is going to be the cube material, and the other one is the wall. So now I have both of them from the other side of our project. And if I go in here, what I'm going to say is for each material, I'm going to name it matte in our collection, which is this one. Oops. I'm going to set matte dot, and I'm going to paste this. And the same is going to happen with these ones, but remember that the option in here is not equal. Okay, and let's see what happens if we run this. Before running it, let me save the scene. So I will put it like our portal scene. Great, so I'm stepping up in my portal, and there it is. So we can move around and we see the entire thing. Let's see if we get a little bit closer to our cube. I will turn around, and there is our portal. So we are inside the other world. So you wonder, if you're wondering what do you see this when you step out, it's because in our code we are enabling and disabling things. So if you want to see your scene actually how it is, just pick your material and select the equal option in here, and that's it. You will see that whatever you are working on and how you are working on it. Great, so let me save this up. And I will create a nice universe in there and try to port this to Android. I will try to put a little bit quick the video when I'm building the environment. But in the next week we will see how to create our 360 video inside the portal, so we can get inside of our video. It was a Star Wars video in the one that you saw in the demo. So let's start building our environment. We'll select all the materials and put them as equal. To plain. Let's pick on 4 and see if that's enough. So I will grab the walls. That's not the materials, this one is the materials. I will grab the walls. I will grab my nephew, my dogs, and the floor. Perfect. And there we are. We are inside our portal. So let's turn around. That's me and my nephew. And that's my dog. You can see that the light is a little bit lower in there. That's because we have a directional light, but we can work on that later on. Hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did creating it, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next week recording about how to create this 360 video, especially Star Wars, because that's the one I pick, and how to place it with Azure Special Encores. So see you on the next week, and please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in getting all the news that I will be recording from now on.